Hey everybody, welcome to another live stream with Flying Frog Productions. This particular live stream is a very special one because it is to go over the pledge manager for Kickstarter 4, which is the Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet and Hell Train. The impossible Hell Train, some might say.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
It doesn't seem that impossible anymore.
Oh. Oh, all right. So, we should probably see who is joining us here. We're seeing a bunch of people across Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. That is the power of the simulcast. Todd Ferrillo says, greetings, Scott and Jason. Greetings, Todd. Sharky says, huzzah! Al Graham says, hello, frogs. Oh, Steven Hernandez says, no sound.
Can you hear us?
Can other people hear us? Steven Hernandez is on Facebook. So other people on Facebook, can you hear us? All right, they're saying they can hear us. They can hear us on Twitch anyway. Kyle says, good evening, frogs. Looking forward to the pledge manager. If not, the hit to my wallet. Huge milestone day. Congrats, FFP team. Thank you, Brian Bosch. 5x5, Jason Vasquez. Loud and clear, Drew. Yes, everybody is saying hi. So it's a little bit earlier than we normally do these because normally we do it as kind of like a tailgate party leading up to a big release, unleashing of a sale.
That's
but
true.
This is not for a sale. This is for the pledge manager. And the pledge manager won't go live at the end of this because it's not really in our control. We're working with the pledge manager folks at KickTrack, and they it's the same pledge manager we've used for the last several Kickstarters, maybe for all of our Kickstarters.
Yeah, I think so.
But they did change their system up a little bit, and so even though we've done this many times, consistently we've been saying, whoa, this is different, that's different, you know. So we're kind of learning the new system and working out the kinks and all that stuff. Bob Clark says, Dicefest is getting close. You're not wrong. Let's see. Hello from Peru. We hear you loud and clear. Very nice. Loud and clear. So excited to open my wallet tonight, says Christopher Lavelle. Wow. David James, hello from Canada. Hello. Eric says, hey, frogs, be kind to my wallet. Todd Roberts, hello, frogs. Jim Robinson, I can hear you on Facebook and YouTube. He's listening to both. Maybe one in each ear, something like that. I hope there's not a delay. That could be very distracting. Anyway, so pledge manager. So what is a pledge manager? It's wholly possible that there are people here watching this that are like, what is this all about? I don't understand. The way that it works is when we do a big Kickstarter, it's a Kickstarter, the campaign that runs anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. And over the course of that, it's a Kickstarter campaign. And we are presenting a new game, or in this case, 2 core sets for, in this case, Impossible Hell Train and Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet. And then we usually have a bunch of other bonuses, goodies, Kickstarter exclusives. And in this particular case, those Kickstarter exclusives include Kickstarter exclusives heroes for each of those 2 core sets. So you have the Treasure Hunter for the Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet. You've got the Brimstone Ranger for the Impossible Hell Train, and then the really exciting one, the Crimson Hand Enclave. And this is sort of analogous to, if anybody's familiar with the Tredaran Strike Team, where it is a Tredaran Strike Team was a Kickstarter exclusive expansion from the previous Kickstarter, and it allowed you to play as Tredarans for the first time. Well, maybe not the first time, because there was the Tredaran Veteran. But I mean, active duty Tredaran,
right.
like
This
full on.
This is somebody who's left.
That's
the front.
right. This is somebody
the
on the
Strike
front.
Team are active Tredaran.
Also,
soldiers.
they're team heroes, meaning that they have team abilities and all of that. It came with new missions and all of the stuff you would need for playing a team of Tredaran heroes, a strike team, if you will.
But we should probably rein it back
yes,
in
yes.
to the
But
focus here.
to go back, what I'm trying to say is this includes the Crimson Hand Enclave, which is kind of a Crimson Hand version of this, where you can actually play as a team hero group of Crimson Hand. And so those are the Kickstarter exclusives for this new Kickstarter, and super exciting, all of that. To continue just getting the point across, over the course of the campaign, as people are pledging, then it raises the value of what has been, the money raised, and then it unlocks stretch goals. And so we unlocked, boom, 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 so much stuff. It's an insane haul of stuff.
It's true.
And as part of that, over the course of it, we also unlocked more add-ons that you could get. Not something that's just included with it, but new add-ons that you could buy as part of it. So that is what the Kickstarter is. This Kickstarter ran quite a while ago. I mean, more than a year ago. And it is now time to do the Pledge Manager. What is the Pledge Manager? The Pledge Manager is kind of like the other shoe to drop. So people that either took part in the Kickstarter during the campaign or got in on the late pledge that we ran up until Sunday night, those people are all in the Kickstarter. Hopefully everyone here is in the Kickstarter. If you're not, that's okay. There's also, this serves as like a preview of things to come. These things will be coming out in retail after they are shipped to Kickstarter people. It's not immediate. I mean, there's still one or two items from the Forbidden Fortress Kickstarter that haven't been released to retail yet.
That's true, like the legendary villains.
This is true, and a lot of the stuff still from Brimstone Adventures. So it becomes retail releases on a schedule that goes over years. So this, getting the Kickstarter is a great way to actually get it for not only an amazing deal, but all of it, and you don't have to wait for years for it to come out over time.
Yep.
Anyway, so we're going to talk about the Pledge Manager. We're going to talk about the new things that we're adding in the Pledge Manager, new add-ons that you can get.
Add-ons, yeah.
And then we're going to go over, all of the add-ons that were that people already know about, that were part of it. So the first thing we should talk about is just, when the Pledge Manager, when are you going to get into the Pledge Manager? So again, it's a little bit out of our control because the team at the Pledge Manager place needs to actually launch it. And they have a system where they do them in batches. So they will send out invites to like 25 people, and then they send another invite to another 25. And they're doing it like over the course of the day, batches. And I guess this is good for not overloading the system, and also so that they can kind of check as it goes to make sure that things are okay. So it's sort of like a soft open. That process should start tomorrow, I believe, tomorrow or Friday. Again, it's a little bit out of our control, but within the next couple days, we will start sending out the invites, and then this video here will serve as a primer for what to look for once you're in there. In the Pledge Manager, you're going to be providing your shipping address. You're going to be paying for shipping of Wave 1, and you're going to be getting any additional purchased add-ons that you might want to get. And then Wave 2 will be a separate shipping that will happen once Wave 2 is shipping. Wave 1, it's a little bit easier because Wave 1 is basically the pledge box.
Yeah, it's the pledge boxes. So for the main pledges being the Railroad Pledge, Scarab Pledge, and Pharaoh Pledge.
Right.
And then the retailer pledges.
Yeah. And that's what Wave 1 is. Wave 2 is stuff that's like kind of pick and pull, and everybody's order is going to be totally unique. So it's a little bit harder to just have easy estimates of shipping or something like that. So do we want to talk real quick about like the shipping hubs or anything like that, or leave that for updates? Or
I think we can leave that for updates for the most part. I mean, I guess we could just do the quick overview, and that is People that are in the US are going to be getting it shipped from our warehouse here in the Pacific Northwest. And everyone in the EU and the UK are going to be getting it from those hubs in the UK and the EU. And Canada, there's a Canada hub, which is going to be sending stuff out to Canada and a lot of parts around the rest of the world. And there's also an Australia hub, which is going to be sending stuff out to Australia and New Zealand. And lastly, there's an Asia hub as well, which is sent to everyone in, Hong Kong and Taiwan and Japan and Indonesia and Thailand and all the places in that end of the world as well.
Yeah. And so we're going to have a message on the pledge manager about it, but tariffs are a real thing. They're basically affecting people, backers in the US, and we don't know at the time when it ships what that tariff is going to be. So it would be folly to try to charge, a tariff, base it on something now, because we have no idea. And unfortunately, it's a little chaotic, so it's hard to predict. We've seen it everywhere from 145% tariff on stuff from China down to as low as only 30%. And so we don't know, so right now we're only for US backers, the pledge manager is only going to be charging the shipping. And then at the time we're shipping it, there will be an additional tariff charge. We're going to obviously keep it as low as possible. It'll be based on what tariffs are when we actually ship the parts to us here, our warehouse in the US.
Yeah. And those tariff charges are only going to be on US backers. Everyone else should be getting their shipment, I believe, from different hubs around the world. So it's going to be shipping directly from the factories to those hubs. So it never crosses into the US and back out for these Wave 1 pledge boxes. So that'll only affect US backers.
Yeah. And, it's going to be based on manufacturing costs, not like the final value that
for the tariffs.
For the tariffs, yeah. So it's not like, you can't do easy math right now and just go, oh no, it's going to be whatever, 100%, 150%. I don't know, who knows, whatever it'll be, but that percentage times the final thing, that's not it. It'll be lower than that.
And our hope is that even though it's fluctuating and unpredictable right now, that by the time it's ready to actually import those containers and for us to ship those packages out to US backers, that it will be as low as humanly possible.
So Kyle Kiesler says, question, will shipping delays be considered if tariffs go super high, 100% plus again? Yes. I mean, if it goes crazy high, then I think we'd probably, it's hard to say. This is the economic kind of uncertainty that we deal with. So if it seems like it's temporary and it might go down again, like in a reasonable amount of time, then yeah, we'd probably say like, hey, let's wait. If it seems like it's going to go down in a month, let's try to wait. If it seems like it might even go up higher, maybe we would try to hurry and do it. Like
at the end of the day, we're just going to assess it and make the best decision to get the tariffs to be as low as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And to try to time it so that it's as low as humanly possible.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, why don't we go ahead and move on to exciting stuff that people are probably here to find out about.
Yes. So one question we've been getting a lot in email is, will I be able to upgrade my pledge in the pledge manager? And so, some people during the Kickstarter campaign may have pledged, say, at the $25 level, where they get access to the pledge manager, but they're not actually getting a pledge box or anything. Mm-hmm. And so they're thinking, okay, I get access to the pledge manager, but I also want to get a pledge box. And so the answer is yes, absolutely. The upgrading, basically all roads lead to a Pharaoh pledge. And so if you have, I can't remember what the $25 level tourist. If you are a tourist backer, you will be able to upgrade to a pharaoh. If you are a scarab backer, you will be able to upgrade to a pharaoh. If you have access to the pledge manager and you want to upgrade, you can upgrade to a pharaoh level pledge, which is the kind of big one.
Yeah.
And in fact, we have some slides. Let's look at the first slide where I think it will show the pharaoh pledge. So it's the one after this one. There it is right there. So the pharaoh pledge, I mean, this isn't really doing it justice because it also has
all the stretch goals,
a metric ton of stretch goals. But this shows the, core sets and then the Kickstarter exclusives. And then I just put plus stretch goals because it would take, so many slides to go through all that stuff. But this is the pharaoh pledge. All right. So we're just going to go through. We're going to start. We have a list here. We're going to go through and talk about the different add-ons in the pledge manager.
So why don't we start by talking about add-ons in the pledge manager that are Kickstarter exclusives from previous Kickstarter projects?
That is another thing that people have been emailing us about a lot, which is, will there be any exclusives from the previous Kickstarters? And we've done that in the past, so it's always a question of, is it going to happen again? A lot of that comes down to logistics and if we still have some or if we'd have to print them again, and where do they live? Are they in a factory in China? Are they here in our warehouse? That kind of stuff. But I'm excited to say we actually are going to have all of the previous Kickstarters exclusives available in the pledge manager. And so to just run through these, actually we can probably just switch to the main camera. So to run through these, we have the Hero Pack Outlaw. This was the Kickstarter exclusive from the first original OG Kickstarter. And
back in 2013.
Back in 2013. And it's gotten an upgrade because now it's in a nice box. And the minis are actually revised sculpts, and they're in thermoplastic now. So that is going to be available. Then from Forbidden Fortress, we had the Sumo and the Daimyo, and both of these are going to be available. The Sumo has the male and female Sumo. The Daimyo, it costs a little more because it actually has the male and the female Daimyo, and then also their set of Ashigaru
armored Ashigaru allies.
Guards. Yeah. Built right in. And then the other one that was in Forbidden Fortress was the Tredaran Veteran Hero Pack, and that is also Kickstarter exclusive from Forbidden Fortress. With Brimstone Adventures, we had Kickstarter exclusive heroes, the Valkyrie and the Cursed Eternal. So this one was for Gates of Valhalla. This one was for Valley of the Serpent King. And these are actually some of my favorites. They turned out just great, and they're so much fun to play. Besides these two heroes, we also had the Tredaran Strike Team. And again, this is one that, it's kind of a shame, actually, that it's a Kickstarter exclusive because the set is so solid. It is really, really fun. And just really, we just packed it with stuff. And so it is a Kickstarter exclusive, but what we can do about that is make it available in this Kickstarter now too.
Yeah.
And maybe in the next one if we can, so that more people can get it and they're not having to pay, crazy prices on eBay or something like that. Okay. So that's all those different heroes and the Tredaran Strike Team. And now it's probably worth talking about the new Kickstarter exclusives. And I think we have some slides for these. So let's see. So first up is the Kickstarter exclusive Treasure Hunter hero. And this is a very Indiana Jones sort of
you
fellow.
You can hear that bullwhip crack.
That's right. And it comes with the male and female treasure hunter, and he is a pulp adventure icon. That's for the Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet.
Great at finding his way through traps, hunting down ancient relics, and escaping those collapsing tombs.
Now, it's important to note that, we're showing images. This one that's on screen here, this square image, that is how it'll look in the Pledge Manager. And it has a cost there. But this is something that you're already getting. If you have a Pharaoh pledge, you are already getting
or a Scarab
the Kickstarter exclusives
for the treasure hunter.
And for the treasure hunter himself, even if you have the Scarab pledge, you are also getting the treasure hunter.
This particular slide is showing if you want additional copies of the treasure hunter Kickstarter exclusive hero.
Yes. All right. If we go on to the next one, we have
the Brimstone Ranger. So this is the Kickstarter exclusive hero for the Impossible Hell Train. And again, if you have the Pharaoh pledge or the Railroad pledge, he is already included. This hero pack is already included as part of your Kickstarter. But this slide is for if you wanted to get extra copies of the Brimstone Ranger. And it's important to note that this has the miniatures for the male and female Brimstone Ranger, and it also has the mounted versions on horseback for both the male and female Brimstone Ranger.
Which is why it costs a little more. But again, it is included if you have the Pharaoh pledge or what was the Railroad pledge. Yeah. All right. And then next up is the Crimson Hand Enclave.
Yeah.
And we have a few different slides here showing off some of the art and stuff. So first of all, this is the first time that we're ever showing any of the miniatures for it. And it has the new cover for it. So this one is very exciting. It actually has 5 miniatures that come with it. There's 4 different heroes in the box, but the Inquisitor, there's 2 versions of the Inquisitor. So when you play an Inquisitor hero, you could play either the Inquisitor or the Plague Inquisitor. And so we have a miniature for each of those 2. Yeah. Besides that, there's also the Cloaked Assassin. In the Order of the Crimson Hand, Cloaked Assassins are always female. So the character sheet is not double-sided to have a female on one side, male on the other side. It's actually 2 different variations on the Cloaked Assassin. And we actually have some alternate parts for the miniature so that you can build either one.
For the different starting upgrades for the Cloaked Assassin to either use kind of long jeweled blades or to fight with a garrote.
Yeah.
And be a little more stealthy.
So again, there's a price there, but just know this is included if you get the Pharaoh pledge. It is included in your pledge. This is if you are not getting the Pharaoh pledge, but you want to buy one, or if you want to buy an extra one, or if you want to get some for people who are in your game group, but they're not part of the Kickstarter or something like that.
So there is a question here. It looks like Drew says, out of curiosity, how do the Corset Ranger and the Brimstone Ranger differ mechanically? So the Corset Ranger, I'm trying to think of which hero you might be talking about.
Yeah, I was wondering that myself.
Maybe the U.S. Marshal from City of the Ancients. He's pretty different. The Brimstone Ranger, one of his biggest benefits is that he has a trusty horse that he can whistle for to spend some grit and whistle for, and have ride up and jump on the horse anywhere, anytime during an adventure. Normally mounted heroes only show up in certain missions, or when you're on map tiles that are open air, so they're not interior. But the Brimstone Ranger is an exception to that. He can actually jump on his horse and ride through the derelict ship, or through the Hell Train, or really anywhere.
A few people are suggesting that perhaps Ranger is actually Rancher.
Rancher, okay.
Possible.
So yeah, the Rancher is more of a all about like clothing items and long range shooting with the rifle being kind of a dead eye shot, crack shot. The Brimstone Ranger is kind of a little bit more lawman like, but with a rifle, and he's got a little bit more of a up close and personal, punch you in the face, knock you on your butt, and then jump on his horse and trample you kind of vibe.
Godzilla Lover 101 says, this is my first Kickstarter. Is the pledge manager open at the end of the stream? We talked about this just a few minutes ago, and we were basically saying, because it's out of our control, we're doing it through the pledge manager software. We actually have to have their team's help in launching it, and they do it over the course of many hours, maybe even a day or two. So it'll start launching in the next day or two. And if you see people, online where they're like, I got my invite, I just went through the pledge manager, don't be alarmed if you didn't get it. They send them out in batches. And so they'll do it. I don't know how many. They do 25 or 50 people at a time every hour and just send it out over the course of like 24 or 48 hours.
Yeah. And it also looks like Villafair says, did we pay anything for our pledges yet? I don't remember. So during the Kickstarter campaign, you did pay for the value of the pledge, the Railroad, the Scarab, the Pharaoh pledge, whatever level you pledged at, and also any funds you added for add-ons that were introduced within the Kickstarter campaign, those also were paid for. So when you log into the pledge manager, it will have all that information from Kickstarter that basically tells you what pledge level you have and also what add-ons you've already purchased. And all the different pieces you get with your pledge.
Michael Glass says that Inquisitor breastplate is ripped. He's right. he's not wrong.
I would like to see some people paint it as though he's just not wearing a shirt.
That would be really creepy. And Sean Fairbanks says the big question is, how long will the pledge manager be open? And we have not determined that specifically. I feel like the previous pledge manager was open for a month or two.
Yeah, usually
like
it's
that.
between 1 to 2 months.
Yeah, so it's not the reason why it's not like a fixed amount is because you're trying to get everyone to respond and complete their pledge manager. And so we get a little report, and you can log into a dashboard, and it's showing this percentage of people have completed it. And so, ideally we would have 100%, but it's almost impossible to get that. And so, it would be nice to close it as soon as we can, because then it's like more solidified. We know the exact numbers for ordering the stuff from the factories and getting things into production. But at the same time, if people aren't completing their pledge manager, it makes it harder.
Yeah, so, it looks like Donk Dude says late pledges will be able to use the pledge manager as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You'll get an invite to it, just like everyone that backed during the campaign.
Yes, we closed the late pledges on Friday or on a Sunday night at the end of the weekend. Actually, maybe Monday morning, something like that. And then once we did, we took all of those people that did those late pledges, we added them into the spreadsheet, and we delivered all of that to the pledge manager people. And so everyone now has been matriculated into the system, and they're all as one now.
Okay.
So not really as separate. Okay, let's keep going, because we have some other really cool art to show here for the Crimson Hand Enclave. And Jason, if you have more design kind of notes that you want to
Sure.
drop on any of these guys, in that we're showing a little bit closer look at some of the artwork there. It's the cover art with a little bit closer look at it. And, up in front, closest to us, you've got the Inquisitor. Behind him, there's the Acolyte with the torch. And then behind him is the Cloaked Assassin. And then the Cultist in the back. And the Cultist has an orb. And
that's one of the fun things with one of the starting upgrades for the Cultist subclass is that you are an orb bearer, and there's actually a deck of orbs that you get to pull from to see what orb you bring along to each adventure, and each one does different stuff. So it's definitely, there's a lot of kind of fun little elements like that that make each of the members of the Crimson Hand Enclave play very differently, and also have a lot of kind of characterful stuff that changes from adventure to adventure.
Yeah, and you'll notice that on the Crimson Hand Acolyte, he's got this side satchel filled with scrolls, and then he's also got some different amulets and things like that. You can't see it in this particular cropping of the image, but he also has some kind of ancient beads that might have mystical purposes. So he's all about the arcane.
Yeah, he's got arcane items that he gets to bring along on adventures.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can probably
we have some other art. I think we're showing some of the portraits. It's cropped in, of course, but that's the portrait for the acolyte. And then we can spin on. There's the Inquisitor, the standard Inquisitor, not the Plague Inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Cloaked Assassin. So, yeah, this is going to be a really fun one. There's the miniature. That's the first time we're showing the Cloaked Assassin miniature. And this is one you don't want to miss. The Crimson Hand Enclave is going to be kind of like, I don't know. I think it might be the most exciting thing about this Kickstarter. I mean, is that horrible to say? I mean, I love the pulp adventure. I love the train stuff, but like Crimson Hand have been around for so long, and this is the first time you can play as the Crimson Hand. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it looks like Jonathan Caps asks, "What's the native world for the Crimson Hand?" I think that the simple answer would be to say Earth. But that might be seen as a cop-out.
So you can see on the cover there that they're clearly, exploring an ancient tomb, like an Egyptian tomb. So that's very pulp adventure.
Yeah.
But you probably also noticed in their portraits that they're in Old West mines.
Yeah. So that's the thing about the Order of the Crimson Hand, is that because they've got access to all these arcane artifacts and are kind of dabbling in ancient and occult knowledge, they freely pass through gates to different worlds, but also to different periods in history, to be able to hunt for their different relics and artifacts and items that they want. So they can show up pretty easily in the 1930s Egyptian tombs. They can show up in the Old West. They could travel back to feudal Japan, or the Norse lands, or really any of the different worlds.
All right. Well, let's move on. Dice. Okay, so this is pretty cool. So this is how we package the dice, and these are ones actually from the original Kickstarter. These are the Lawman dice. And so every Kickstarter, we've done some really cool custom dice, and it replaces the face with the 6 pips with an icon. And they're nice dice, not only quality dice, but also swirled, and there's it's complex colors where there's kind of pearlescence mixed in, swirled with different colors. And so we work hard to make them really, really beautiful dice. And with the first Kickstarter, I won't lie, it got out of hand. I think we had like 13 different unique dice.
It was a lot.
Yeah. It was a lot, and they were all really cool. I don't feel bad about it, but man, it's a lot of dice. So we have narrowed it down, and so we are very excited to present for the first time in the Pledge Manager custom dice for this Kickstarter. We start out here with the Egyptian Cursed Tomb dice. And we really wanted these to be gold pips on this royal blue. So you get that blue and gold alternating for that pharaoh mask.
Yeah.
All right. And then, of course, the next one is the Sunken City Ferox dice. And these we really wanted to look like aquatic.
Yeah,
and with
deep
that
sea.
With that Ferox icon.
And that sort of Mediterranean sheen of green.
Yeah. I'm excited about these. I definitely will be rolling some of these dice. Next up, of course, we've got the Hell Train dice. And we wanted these, even though it says Hell Train, it represents both the Hell Train and the Western Express. So all of your train needs wrapped into one handy dice set. So we thought it would be cool to have them in this nice green with gold pips and gold insignia. And you've got the train barreling right at you for the icon. All right, and then last but not least, Crimson Hand dice. And this one we knew, obviously, the dice need to be red and black, and then the pips are in white with the Crimson Hand mask as the icon.
And all these dice have the icon replacing the 6 pips. So when you see that little icon, you know you've rolled well. You've got some critical hits, or you made that defense roll you were hoping for, or whatnot.
Yeah. All right. Tony Bixler says dice tend to get out of hand. All right. And Jason Vasquez says Crimson Hand dice. I'm guessing he posted that just before we showed the Crimson Hand dice.
All right. Well, so maybe we should talk about the art book for a second.
Yeah. So in the past, do you want to switch to the camera? So in the past, we have done these handsome art books for the different Kickstarters. This is really cool because it collects together, I can show, not only showing some of the miniatures, but also, the sketches, hero portraits, concept art, and then it goes into we usually will have interviews with some of the artists. It really is a chance where we can show off some of this where we've seen it. We know it's amazing, beautiful stuff that we love to look at, but it doesn't really have a place to come out in the game much. I mean, we try to get it in there here and there, but you guys looking at this right now, this may be the first time you've seen these images, even though you're familiar with these heroes and stuff. You may not have seen these before, and they're very nice stuff. So the art book is really cool because it has, all of this, and then a bunch of the illustrations. So it's kind of a celebration of all of the artwork for that particular Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And here's some miniatures at the end where they're Aaron Lovejoy's beautiful miniatures in 3D backgrounds and stuff. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the art book from the original Shadows of Brimstone. We will be doing an art book for one art book that is a combo for Hell Train and Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet.
Yeah.
And so
we have a couple questions here. One is Multicron says, are the dice / art book included in the Pharaoh Pledge? No. So both the dice and the art book are add-ons that you can put extra funds into to gain as an add-on in the Pledge Manager. We also had a question from Tony that says, I just introduced this game to a new game group. Will I be able to add a second pledge to my order? And yes, the answer is in the Pledge Manager, you will be able to add extra Pharaoh pledges. That's the only pledge that you can add as an additional pledge. And I believe that there is a limit of 2 additional Pharaoh pledges.
I don't remember offhand.
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
All right. We need a Sobs dice bag from the Frogs for all our dice. That's a good idea. Maybe in the future we should do that. Let's see. I hope some new art will show up at Dicefest. Philip. Well, Dicefest is full of surprises, but that's for another time. This is about the Pledge Manager. All right, so let's see. Man of Action says, can I buy a box of that extras stuff from the Vikings and Conquistador stuff still? So we don't have one box. We're not doing the pledge box from that, but we have all of the different Kickstarter exclusives. So that was Brimstone Adventures, and we're going to have the 3 Kickstarter exclusives, which are the Tredaran Strike Team, the Cursed Eternal Hero Pack, and the Valkyrie Hero Pack. And those are never going to be sold in stores, but we're going to have them in the Pledge Manager that you could add to your pledge.
It looks like Luke also says we'll be able to buy Wave 3 Adventures stuff in the PM, like Perilous Expeditions and Mission Packs. You won't. That stuff is not going to be part of this Pledge Manager, but it will be out at retail after Wave 3 ships.
Patrick John says, will Tombs have a soundtrack? Some 20s/30s tunes. Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet absolutely has a soundtrack. Mary Beth is writing and recording stuff right now. It's not going to be... We switched over from having CDs because we just got so many emails from people saying, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't have a CD player. And so we basically started putting them up digitally on YouTube. And so if you look at our YouTube channel right now, you can see some of the other Kickstarter, some of the other games soundtracks available. And so once we launch Hell Train and Cursed Tombs, then those soundtracks will be available on YouTube, on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
Let's see, Godzilla Lover 101, future Kickstarter adventure set Pirates. So coastal sandy island map tiles, and the Otherworld will be derelict spaceship. So space pirates. Well, he's got it all planned out. I don't know.
Well, you never know.
We like to surprise people, so now we can't do that.
All right.
I'm just kidding. Patrick John says, yes, Mary Beth rocks. I agree. All right. So next up, we were going to look at some of the other, we're going to look at the Railroad Board Pack. This is one that we showed. It's an add-on that we had during the Kickstarter.
Yep.
In fact, I think this might be the first add-on
I think it was
in the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Do you want to just explain how this works? These are,
So with the Hell Train and Western Express, in addition to the train car boards, map tiles, you have a railroad board that is used in some of the missions that lays out underneath the train. So the train car boards are placed on the tracks, and it's basically for enemies flying or riding up alongside the train and attacking the train, and the heroes having to fight them off. It can also be used for heroes on horseback riding up alongside the train and trying to get onto a runaway train or onto an outlaw train. And so it's basically used for conflict between characters that are on the train and characters that are not on the train. So this particular add-on is additional. It's an additional double-sided railroad board that features an Egyptian desert on one side and snowy mountains on the other side. And so that basically lets you have different environments that the train can be passing through. And one of the coolest features of this is that it actually has a full deck of cards for rooftop encounters for the desert and rooftop encounters for the snowy mountains. And so those are basically encounters for when your heroes are exploring on the rooftops of the train. There's an entire deck of encounters, just like the normal, Western Express encounters or Hell Train encounters. And so this basically lets you have different events that are themed for the environment around you. And then it also has some new missions that are specifically all about the train going through these environments. So it's a pretty cool add-on and lets you expand kind of where your train is traveling, not just through the Badlands or the deserts of the Old West, or through the Void and other dimensions with the Hell Train, but also lets you go through the desert or the snow. And there's also, that desert could be used to represent the Egyptian desert for the Lost Tombs, the Cursed Tombs theme, or it could be used to represent the Blasted Wastes. If it's the Hell Train rocketing through the Blasted Wastes, it could be, the snowy mountains side could easily be used to represent the Norse lands for the Vikings, if the Hell Train is barreling through there, or the Targa Plateau. So there's a lot of different variability to what these boards can represent in your games.
Steven says, already included in the Pharaoh, but this was just an add-on. It's not included in the Pharaoh.
Yeah, this was an add-on that was made available during the Kickstarter campaign, and so it was already available to everybody during the campaign as an add-on.
Yeah. All right, and then there's a few other questions that came in. Jay says, where can I find FAQs and rules/card revisions? I was looking on the site and can't find. I think that's on the Shadows of Brimstone site. I think there's like I can't remember what the subcategory is. Yeah, it's like documents or something, or
support
something.
Maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
So there is, the FAQ PDF is up there. It's a little bit out of date right now, and we're working on an updated version of it, but that hasn't hit yet.
Steven says camels for tombs. Absolutely, that's coming up. It's
part
in
of
the
Allies
Allies
set,
set. Let's see. Count Ehrlich says, "Can we get the soundtrack on 8-track?" I know, it's just itching to make a comeback. No. I think, it just wouldn't make sense. Donk Dude, need a station board / set, water tower, Kohler, path into the town board. That's actually, that would be kind of cool, but yeah, interesting idea. All right. So,
well, maybe we should move on to the next slide.
Okay, let's do it. All right, next slide. This is an exciting one. Brand new that we're showing. It is a brand new map tile pack. So this is one of the new ones that we're debuting in the Pledge Manager. Map tile pack for Cursed Tombs.
And also the Sunken City of Ferox on the reverse sides.
Yes.
So if you're familiar with the Brimstone Adventures Kickstarter that we did, and the different items that were made available there, we had, for the first time ever, map packs for Gates of Valhalla and for the Valley of the Serpent Kings. And they basically include new cards, new counters, a bunch of new map tiles, and then also 2 new missions that have a lot of variability and replayability to them. And they're really, really cool add-ons to be able to kind of mix it up and add more variety to the places that you can explore in those worlds. So this particular map tile pack covers the Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet. So it's all of the Egyptian Lost Tombs tiles and the Sunken City of Ferox tiles on the back. And these are all brand new rooms, brand new map tiles that are not part of the core set or seen anywhere else.
And then it also includes all the cards associated with that.
Yeah, all the cards associated with it, the encounters, the map cards, things like that.
And then missions.
And the new missions, yeah.
All right. And so again, brand new debuting in the Pledge Manager.
Yeah, it looks like Nancy asks, are the add-ons that are new going to be clearly marked in the PM so I can find what I am missing easily? I pledged a lot of add-ons in the KS already. So I believe that we are going to have a section that is just items that are new to the Pledge Manager that you can go through and see just the new stuff picked out separate from the other items.
It's tough because I think that a lot of people might get confused if we're marking stuff as like, this is new and that's not, as though it's like, this is new from my pledge. Like it's not included in my pledge. That's not what we're doing. So we didn't mark like new to show that it's debuting in the Pledge Manager. But I'll tell you what, at the end of this, once we finish the whole, going through all of it, then we'll just hit you with bullet points of the new ones so that you could reference that part of the video. Okay, let's keep going. Jason, it would seem that if we did a Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet map tile pack, maybe a Hell Train map tile pack?
Yeah, it does seem that way. And someone did ask about how many map tiles are in the map tile pack. It has around 6 new room map tiles.
For Cursed Tombs.
For the Cursed Tombs and Sunken City.
And then the Hell Train map tile pack. And this, of course, has Western Express on one side and New Hell Train
and
on
so
the other.
These are train cars. And so this actually has 10 new tiles in it that are 6 new room cars, a couple of new rooftops that are a different type of rooftop, and then some extra gate cars, which are train cars that have a giant swirling portal attached to the train. So it's kind of the equivalent of the gate end cap, but for the trains.
And then, of course, like the other one, it includes all the cards and counters that are associated.
All the cards needed, 2 new missions,
2 brand new missions.
So this is the Hell Train map tile pack.
Brian says, "Love the map tile pack." That's good. That's why we're making it. Medwin says, "I think they're only responding to YouTube." No, we're getting a feed. In fact, we're seeing your comment from Twitch. So we're getting all that feed. Nick says, if I pledge $25, will I be able to upgrade to a Scarab pledge, or will I have to upgrade to a Pharaoh pledge? So no, the only upgrade is to a Pharaoh pledge. It was just too complex to program it to have all the different things, this jumping up partway, So we actually just did, you can totally upgrade, but it's all to Pharaoh pledge. Let's see. Will we see a locomotive tile? Says Niels McClellan.
Yes,
that's in the main
actually,
core set.
Yeah, that's actually in the Impossible Hell Train core set.
All right, and let's see. New roofs make the Hell Train pack a must buy. Nice. All right, so let's keep going. So actually, next up is the allies. They had asked about the camel. So Pulp Adventure Allies set. What we show here is the 3 guides that you get. But besides the guides, there's some other cool allies that you can get, including a large pack camel.
Yeah, a pack camel. And also a damsel,
right?
Who's feisty and can throw fit, but also has some kind of luck to be stumbling into extra treasures and extra secret doors and things like that. And then a sidekick, who's basically like a character ally that is a little bit customizable and kind of fills in the gaps in anything that your character is weak at. The sidekick can come in and try to help out and kind of fill the gaps.
All right. Todd Frillo says, let's be honest, we are waiting to hear about if Khamuntet is being added.
Well, the question is, did the Cult of Horus find all of the body parts of Khamuntet in the different tombs to reunite him?
All right, so the ally set, this is an add-on that was available during the Kickstarter. And again, if you missed it, you can add it in the Pledge Manager. All right, so if we move on, we've got something very exciting. It is the Egyptian tomb chamber doors. And this is something that we have been talking about. We have great expectations for it. And what we really wanted to do was doorways where it can be kind of interactive. And when you're playing in the Cursed Tombs, you can stumble upon traps and the big stone doors slam shut and trap you in the room. And the room might begin filling with sand or snakes.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big features of the Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet is the traps.
So our dream was to be able to have those doors that could be slammed shut. And so we made a very cool thematic Egyptian door. And I don't know if you can tell from the image, but there's a slot in the top and then it runs down the inside of the doors where you can like slide in. So maybe we'll switch to the camera. Okay. And so you can see here's the slot, and then you can probably see it here on the side too. So it's made to go ahead and
we
actually
the door. Have cardstock counters that are printed with the different sliding blocks that can basically drop down and block your passage through when a trap triggers to lock your heroes into the room. So these are pretty cool. It basically lets you have normal doors, and then when a trap hits, suddenly you slide the block down into each of the exit doorways from that room, and the heroes are trapped, and they have to deal with the trap and find the solution to get out.
And then we thought, if we're doing that anyway, it might be cool to include another version of it,
which is a gate. So basically you can drop this in and have a swirling portal that can represent the gate that your heroes can pass through that appears in the tombs that leads to another world.
So that's really cool. I'm excited about it. I think I'm glad that we're able to make this happen.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool feature, and I think people are really going to like that aspect of these doorways. And of course, as with all the previous door sets that we've done, there's an extra 15 card kind of mini supplement that's included as part of the doorways that adds extra stuff that usually has to do with exploration and darkness cards and things like that. So that is the Tomb Chamber doors.
Yes.
And that is a brand new add-on just introduced in the Pledge Manager.
Yes. And now if we flip to the next slide, actually, I think the next slide will show a bigger picture of the tomb doors, and you can see that's basically the front and the back, and they have different kind of hieroglyphics and designs around the door.
Yeah, I think those ones are going to be really fun to paint.
Jacob says, I dig the interactive doors. Brian says, excellent design touches for the doorways. Thomas Gonzalez says, that's so cool.
All right.
Philip Broughton says, once you lock the chevrons. Yes. You know what you're talking about.
All right. So
yes, but you might need to sit down for your Kelno Ream.
All right.
All right.
That is enough.
Yeah,
all right. So we think we can move on to the next slide here.
Yeah. Train car doorways.
Train car doorways.
So this one also has a feature that is pretty unique and interesting. What we wanted to do was we wanted the doors for the train cars to actually be the interior of the train car on one side and the exterior of the train car on the other side. So it's the end cap for each of the train cars. And then because Hell Train features gameplay that takes place on the roof, we thought it would be really cool if you could actually connect the roof pieces to the doors. So that, well, maybe we can just cut to, we have a camera set up here that will, yes, we've prepared this here. It might need to come forward a little bit. Yeah. A little bit toward me, a little bit this way. Yep, like that. So we've already set this up ahead of time, but basically the rooftops, slide into the doorways at the end. And so it gives you this 3D play so that when you're actually playing with the rooftops, you can be elevated and it turns your map tiles into a train that's more 3D.
Sorry, I'm just trying to center it. There you go.
Yeah. I'm super excited. This is going to make it so much more fun to play, running from rooftop to rooftop and getting in gunfights with bandits on the roof, or even firing down at guys that are on horseback and all of this. It's a very cool.
Yeah, it definitely gives it that 3D train vibe, which I think is going to be really cool.
Jill Thomas says, "Okay, now that's just cool." Count Ehrlich says, "Thank you for answering my question so dramatically." Drew Hildebrandt says, "Take my money." Garen says, "Yep, that rules." Can't wait to see how Elian does a 3D board of the Hell Train. Yes, that could happen. Someone needs to 3D print those connector pieces with magnets on the ends. Anyway, so the train being 3D is great. That's very thematic. Yeah, we thought this would be really cool, and I'm excited about how these turned out. So this is, we're trying to make the doors even more interactive and part of the gameplay, and I think it's working. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, and of course this train car door set also does come with a 15 card mini supplement themed for, again, that sort of exploration and darkness cards and things like that, in addition to the plastic doors.
How many doors?
8 doors. Yeah, the doorway sets always come with 8 doors. In this case, they're 8 of the train car kind of doorway ends, so that you can connect the rooftops up and have the roofs overhead of at least 4 4 cars at a time. Yep.
So that's how those work.
Yeah, and it is pretty easy to just set it off to the side too. If you have models that are too large to fit underneath, you can just pop it off to the side while those models are moving underneath. Okay, so I think that covers the train car doors.
Yeah, I think the next slide will probably be a close-up of the train doors themselves.
Yeah, so somebody did ask, are those rooftop tiles going to be thicker? These particular ones are prototype playtest prototypes that are just on cardstock. So the final rooftops are actually going to be the same thickness as all of the map tiles.
Is all right. So next up, this is very exciting. We can switch to the next slide. So this is something that was so close to being unlocked at the very end, on the last day, on the last hour of the Kickstarter campaign, and it didn't quite make it. And so we thought, you know what? Why don't we just make it as an add-on? I think people would be very excited about it. And that is, of course, the tribal ghost hunters.
Yeah, the tribal ghost hunters are a really cool enemy group. They're another one of the enemy groups that is both on foot and mounted. And we almost reached the on foot ones. We did not almost reach the mounted ones because those were two separate.
And these have been combined into one.
This is basically combined as one new add-on that you can get. So it's a new enemy pack. Because these are people that have played with the Blasted Wastes might recognize tribal ghost warriors as native braves that basically lived near Brimstone when it exploded. And so they've all been demonically possessed by creatures from the void. And so now they kind of phase, jitter in and out of real space and hunt in war parties anything that comes close to the ruins of Brimstone. And so previously we had the Ghost Warriors, Tribal Ghost Warriors. These are Tribal Ghost Hunters because not only do they use bow and arrows, but they also are known for fighting on horseback. And so they can ride up alongside the train, firing arrows at the train. They can also leap from their horseback onto the train and continue to get into kind of shootouts with the heroes using their bows and arrows. Because they are demonically possessed, they have that same phase jitter like the Ghost Warriors had. And that means that when they board the train, they can jitter in and out of real space and jump right through walls into interior train cars. So normally when enemies are jumping from horseback onto the train, they need to do so onto a flatbed car or onto one of the connector pieces or the end of the train. But these guys can actually leap and phase right through the walls to kind of surprise attack the heroes inside interior train cars.
Todd says, what worlds will the tribal ghost hunters have cards for? Canyons, for instance.
So that is a good question. So something that is important to note is that the canyons do not have unique threat cards, otherworld threats, because it's not an otherworld, it's an earth-based world, which means that the canyons use the normal low, medium, and high threat deck. But as with all of the different enemies that are mounted on horseback, they have cards for a new deck called Open Range Threats. And Open Range Threats are basically used for enemies that ride up alongside the train or fly up alongside the train to attack, but can also be used for worlds that predominantly are set in exterior locations. So there are rules in the Impossible Hell Train core set for these open range threat cards, but any of the enemies that are mounted like this are also going to include those rules, as well as the open range threat cards for those enemies. So that would allow you to use the mounted versions riding through the canyons or through the battlefields of Tradera or the Blasted Wastes. And so the open range threats give you a lot of possibilities for facing off against mounted enemies like that in a bunch of different worlds, not necessarily just when playing with the train.
Well, I feel like there was one more in that list during the Kickstarter campaign that we just did not reach. but it was further out there.
There was something, yeah.
It was a big one. I remember that. XXL.
All right, well, why don't we go to the next slide and see if it can fill us in.
There it is.
It's the man you've been waiting for, the man
That's
of the hour.
right. You've heard of the Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet. This is Khamuntet. And this model is insane. This model is insane. Like, there's no other way to put it. Daniel is here just off camera. He is nodding vigorously. He knows all too well the insanity of Khamuntet. Jason says, "Oh, my wallet." Meredith says, "Sick." Yes. Steven says, "I'll take all 6 variants."
So Khamuntet, the high priest of the desert sands.
Yeah.
He is sort of the arch villain of the entire Cursed Tombs theme. And you can see here he's riding on his undead war chariot with his pretty awesome little mummy chariot driver.
Yep, and he's being held aloft by a tidal wave of undead.
Yeah, so he's cresting a wave of sand and mummies and bodies that he's
mummies
that he's driving across to attack, to drive to war. And you can see that there's also an additional model of Khamuntet on foot. And so that can be used for if you're...
Thomas White says, "Tomb Daddy!" Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The Khamuntet on
it had
foot
to be said.
Can be used if you're fighting a lesser version of Khamuntet, or when you're fighting him on the chariot and you defeat the chariot, he, of course, falls to the ground and then rises back up on foot to continue the fight. And so... Khamuntet is kind of the big bad, the big epic villain of this set, and the model turned out amazing.
Brian says, Daniel. Is it a mummy or is it a daddy? And now, Irma Gerd, we need an Abbott and Costello add-on. Okay, yes.
Khamun get some.
All right. So... this guy, I mean, I'm almost at a loss for words. It is, I think, the greatest model that we have ever conceived of. I would say put out, but it's not done yet. Obviously it still needs to be produced. Here is the artwork for the cover of the box. It's cropped in a little bit, but it is awesome.
Yeah, it gives you a better
he's
look at
quite evil.
The detail on the chariot and Khamuntet.
And the undead horses.
Yeah, and his driver.
Yeah, his driver's pretty sweet. I love the little skull cap. So Sean Fairbanks says, "Oh my God, we love you guys." All right. Steven Hernandez is saying, "What wave?" So this would be wave 2, I think, right?
So as it stands right now, we're working really hard to try and have the Cursed Tombs and Hell Train Kickstarter ship in 2 waves. Wave 1, which is the pledge boxes. So all of the main core games and the stretch goals that came with that as part of the pledge, the actual pledges. And then wave 2, we're working to get everything, all of the add-ons that were introduced in the Kickstarter campaign, as well as all of the add-ons introduced in the Pledge Manager to ship together as a wave 2. So that is the current plan, 2 waves. Wave 1 is the pledge boxes, wave 2 is the add-ons.
There's already a request for an art print poster of Khamuntet. Let's see. Valmar is saying rooftop doors are also wave 2.
Yeah. So the entire thing would be either it's part of wave 1, which is the pledge boxes, which is just the core sets, Kickstarter exclusive characters and stretch goals. And then wave 2 would be anything that's an add-on. So whether it was from during the campaign or whether it's from introduced in the Pledge Manager, all of those, the intent is to make them a single wave 2.
And I think that we have, I put together some slides with, first of all, it shows more of the artwork. But second of all, it shows the model from different angles. So we'll flip and
we can
show,
spin through the
show it
different
off.
angles.
This one, I mean, I feel like I'm going to paint this and then like display it in my living room because it is awesome. I'm very excited about it. All right, and then here we can see kind of a more rear view. And as we were working on this guy, we talked about how the different undead are actually like kind of carrying him forward and lifting him up. So there's actual arms reaching up and like lifting the wheels. You can see here in this angle, and he's also kind of rocking side to side because it's not just a smooth ride. I mean, you've seen people crowd surf at concerts, and that's what it's like. This guy on his chariot is actually crowd surfing with this wave of undead, and so it's got to be a bumpy ride as he's going. So we specifically put the chariot and the different horses at kind of different angles as they're kind of traversing this insanity. Bob Clark says, dude, I think your horse is sick. What kind of magic will he use, says Solon.
So Khamuntet has desert magic that he wields. And so, it's basically like the nastiest of the Egyptian magic.
Philip Broughton says that's Egypt's ass. I think he's referring to Captain America from the Avengers. So here's actually a closer look at front and back of Khamuntet on foot once he's off his chariot. And again, it turned out fantastic. Daniel's been working overtime to make these things amazing. All right, so I think that is it for Khamuntet, but certainly we're not done with the surprises. There's more. I know you're thinking, how is it possible? Khamuntet, how do you even follow that? But I'm sure there's some things that we haven't gotten to yet, like in the Kickstarter, we had some add-ons that were new heroes. So why don't we take a look at some of those? So here is the Scientist. And the Scientist is actually one of the ones I'm most excited about playing because it's such a staple of like pulp serial adventures. Having the kind of like gadgeteer scientist character.
Oh, yeah.
Did you want to talk about his
techno gadget?
Yeah, his techno gadget that you can be tinkering with and changing and upgrading.
Yeah, so one of the big features of the Scientist is you can, through the starting upgrade you choose, you can decide how much of a mad scientist you want him to be versus a more kind of thoughtful, grounded scientist. And one of the elements of all scientists is that they have a techno gadget, which is basically like a generalized pulp scientific instrument that you can tinker with and change from adventure to adventure. And it actually has its own mini skill tree. So as you go up in level, you can get skill tree upgrades for the techno gadget and sort of develop the gadget over the course of your adventures and your campaign as well. Yes. So the Scientist is a really fun character. I think people are really going to like him.
Calvin says, it's alive. Yes. All right. Next up, we have should be the Keeper of the Sacred Flame.
Keeper of the Sacred Flame. That's right.
This is another pulp adventure hero.
Yeah. Another classic kind of pulp adventure archetype. And that is the member of the secret order that's local in Egypt and in kind of that desert region that's passed down from generation to generation, the knowledge of the evil that lies in the deserts. And they've sworn an oath to the sacred flame to prevent the return of Khamuntet, prevent him from ever coming back to life or coming back to try to conquer the world. They've also sworn an oath to defend against the inhabitants of the sunken city of Ferox, and some of their ancestors were part of the group that helped to topple the ancient empire of Ferox and helped to sink the city beneath the sea. So these guys are basically steeped in lore and have trained from birth to be expert fighters to take on all threats, mythological and supernatural.
Oh, yes. And next up, we actually, went outside just the normal human realm, and we have one of our first alien heroes. And this is the Trun Outcast. So you can, for the first time ever, play as a Trun hero.
Yeah, it's true. And so, the Trun Outcast is a pretty cool hero because he's big and brutish. He can actually pick up and throw smaller enemies and kind of smash enemies into the ground. He's kind of like having an ogre on your team, but he's also a little bit harder to control. So he's kind of unpredictable in his kind of brutish nature.
If your posse includes a Trun Outcast and you're playing a game of chess with him, I suggest you let the Trun win. That's all I'm saying.
Or you could just try to have an entire party of Trun Outcasts. That would be pretty cool too, wouldn't it?
Solon says it's a fun Trun.
Yeah.
Tony Bixler says Trun smash.
Yeah.
Jason Vasquez says we have a Trun.
So the other aspect of having a Trun hero is that this pack does not have a male and female version of the Trun. Instead, it has two different variations on the Trun. So one is more of the Trun Hunter style, where he's armored and uses a lot of guns and ranged stuff, as well as smashing things. And then the other style is the more Trun Gladiator style, where he's more tribal and uses close combat weapons, and specifically is about kind of honorable battles, one-on-one.
Well, Villafair says, I think he may draw some unwanted attention in town. Yeah.
Nah, just put a hat on him.
Just a little bowler hat. All right. And our next one is actually another alien. We got wacky with this. For sure.
So yeah, this is one that a lot of people have asked for over the years, and we were excited to put together, which is the Wasteland Warrior. So this is an alien convict who has escaped from the blasted wastes and now has become an adventurer, traveling through portals back in the Old West or in the ancient tombs of Egypt. And so he basically uses scrap to enhance his weapons and his armor, and is very resourceful.
Yeah, I'm excited to delve into this one. I think this will be a fun one to play.
All right.
Okay, now that concludes the ones that we actually had new heroes in as add-ons in the Kickstarter. So none of these are included in any of the pledges or anything, but they were add-ons that we had during the Kickstarter. But we actually had some other really cool ideas, and we wanted to debut them in the Pledge Manager.
Yeah.
We got a couple more cool heroes. So first up, the Scoundrel.
The Scoundrel, a total classic archetype for pulp adventure. He's basically the untrustworthy buddy that you bring along, who has a lot of information and contacts and knowledge, but also is totally ready to pick your pocket or stab you in the back, leave you in the trap, and run off for himself to get the treasures.
And we felt it was important that he has a monkey.
It's true.
So he has a little monkey that he is actually trained to pick pockets. And so, I mean, this guy is a scoundrel. So the monkey is, potentially stealing from other members of the posse as the scoundrel is like, hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So
there is a question asked, will these hero packs eventually be available in retail? Yes. So anything that's not listed as Kickstarter exclusive will be eventually available in retail. We can't say when because we don't we don't know when it'll fit into the schedule for retail release. But it would eventually, possibly sometime down the line, be available at retail, unless it says Kickstarter exclusive.
A bunch of people are saying, "My God, it's Benny." Yeah, he is very Benny. I will give you that. Yes.
Yeah. And one of the fun things about the Scoundrel is that he actually uses corruption as a resource. So he actually likes collecting corruption and then can spend that to do dastardly things as a resource. But of course, if you inadvertently get too much corruption, he can still mutate and get all gross and weird. But being able to dabble in corruption and use it as a resource is a pretty cool mechanic for him.
Also, while we have not sculpted the miniature for this yet, we're already talking about how the monkey needs to be a separate piece from the guy so that it could be glued onto different models. If you wanted to, say you have a journeyman hero and you want to have like a Tredaran veteran Scoundrel, you need to glue that monkey on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So yes, M. Weaver says, yes, the one flaw of your games is not enough monkeys. Jonathan says, really, when is it not important to have a monkey?
It's true.
Can the monkey wield a gun? Gavin Downing.
I think the real question is, did you take that upgrade on the skill tree?
Yes. Nasty little people like the Scoundrel always get what's coming to them. Jacob says, yes, more monkeys. Okay, the monkey. People like the monkey. That's good. That's good. Lindsay says, it's the evil monkey in my closet. Get out of the house, Lindsay. Get out of the house. All right. So there is, this is a brand new hero that is debuting for the first time in the Pledge Manager. And we have one more new hero debuting in the Pledge Manager. Let's flip to that. This is one that Jason has wanted to do for a while now.
It's true. It's true. This is a pretty cool one. So this is the Foxic Ancient. So this is actually a character that was once part of the royal family of the sunken city of Ferox before it sunk, and basically was away from the city when the island sunk beneath the sea into the deep dark below. And so they've basically been trapped on the surface, traveling the world for thousands of years. And they, of course, as with all the ruling class of the sunken city of Ferox, they are vampires. So the Foxic Ancient is an ancient, many thousand-year-old vampire who's been traveling the world now as an adventurer and isn't necessarily evil, but also isn't necessarily good. So kind of a gray area hero, maybe an anti-hero, depending on how you want to play them. But she has some ancient Foxic technology, as well as a lot of skills that she's acquired over her millennia-long existence. And now she's basically just hunting for the next big thrill, because after living for thousands and thousands of years, there's not much that excites her. So she just tries to get hunt more and more dangerous creatures, go on more and more dangerous adventures or quests, or try to hunt down ancient artifacts and relics that relate to her long-distant past.
And you may notice that this one costs slightly more than the standard ones. And that is because it comes with not only the male and the female Foxic Ancient, but also, we thought it would be really cool if she had brought with her, or he had brought with her, whatever, the Foxic Ancient had brought with them one of the automatons that is now their valet.
So the set comes with the Foxic Ancient male and female, as well as an automaton valet that's kind of their ancient robotic butler that's been following them around for thousands of years, being repaired and cobbled back together.
Yes. So picture in the Old West, say, a large Feroxian robot with a little vest and a bowler hat. So he can blend in. So he can blend in.
As we've established, the little hat is all it takes to blend in.
So I'm way excited about this character. Yeah. It is very cool, and you know, this is also, I should say, not the first time that we've seen a Foxic Ancient.
That's true. That's true. Valeria the Eternal from A Touch of Evil, for people that played A Touch of Evil. She was in the Something Wicked expansion,
Mm-hmm.
and she was actually a foxic ancient that's been traveling the globe for millennia.
I think we actually talk about Ferox in her
Yeah,
background.
in her bio in the back of the book. Yeah,
Not only is she
expansion.
Valeria the Eternal, but in some of the pictures you can see her fangs and
Yep.
stuff. So it's like this has been around. I mean, that's
2009.
Yeah. So it only took us how many years to finally get this into Shadows of Brimstone?
Yeah. Okay, so why don't we continue on?
Tyler is suggesting that maybe the robotic butler needs a well-placed mustache.
Yeah, that would definitely
so.
help as a disguise.
And Jill Thomas says Valeria rocks. She does
cool.
for all eternity. All right. Jacob says a robot slave to do my bidding. Okay. yeah. I suppose. With a Gua'uld hand device. That's actually the Necrotouch Gauntlet.
Yeah,
which is also an item that you can
artifacts from the Sunken City of Ferox.
I think that's one that's in the core set, right? Yeah, a Feroxic artifact.
All right, so next on the list we have enemy theme packs.
Yeah.
So this is something that was new that we introduced in during the Kickstarter campaign. It's a new type of item, which is an enemy theme pack, and it basically is kind of like an extra super deluxe enemy pack. So it has 2 new enemy groups and 2 new enemy characters that are all themed for the same type of enemies. As well as a couple of new missions and then a bunch of new cards that relate to these characters. And so it basically is kind of doing an extra deep dive into this theme of enemies, but getting you a couple of new enemy groups and a couple of characters for those enemies, which is pretty exciting to be able to give you some really themed adventures. So the first one we have here is the Terrors of the Deep. And this enemy theme pack is themed for the Sunken City of Ferox. And so you can see that it comes with a new group of Atlantean automaton warriors, which are basically the robots that defend the city and that march to war in daylight, where the Feroxic vampire ruling class generally tries to stay away from because they're weakened by the daylight. And then it also has, as a part of another enemy group, is large size enemies that are the dynastic guard. So these are basically like the royal guard of the Feroxic court. And so they're kind of the elite of the elite soldiers that have big 2-handed pole arms and are heavily armored. And then there's also 2 characters that come with this set as well.
The court artificer.
Yeah, the court artificer, who's basically kind of super science themed, mechanical genius who keeps all of the automatons running and all of the super scientific weapons and systems of the city still running. And then the other is the Queen of the Dead, which is one of the ruling vampire class who is basically leading the return of the Kingdom of Ferox.
Solon says, we saw the Necrotouch Gauntlet at Gen Con. The group playing in Ferox found it. Nasty item. That's cool that someone out there is like, I got a war story about the Necrotouch Gauntlet.
Yeah, well, it looks like Crawling with Dungeons says those Dynastic Guard are fast. And they're not wrong. The Dynastic Guard are pretty crazy because they actually get to activate twice during the turn. So once at their normal initiative and then once again later in the turn. And so they can bounce around between heroes, whacking each hero over the head as they go, and getting to move and fight twice during the turn is pretty deadly.
Stephen Hernandez is asking about tiles. These enemy theme packs don't have tiles.
Yeah, there's no map tiles in the enemy theme packs. They're basically like a super deluxe enemy pack because it has 4 new enemies and then all of the cards for those enemies and enemy record sheets. But it does have 2 new missions that are themed for those new enemies.
It's almost like a double deluxe enemy pack.
Yeah.
Because instead of one like character, you get 2 characters, and instead of 1 enemy group, you get 2 enemy groups, and instead of well, actually, I guess there were more than 1 mission.
Well, there's a lot of cards in there, and there's a couple of missions that make it pretty cool.
All right, so let's look at the next one. This is the Riders of the Storm. This is another enemy theme pack that we introduced as an add-on during the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
So it's not part of any Kickstarter pledge.
None of these enemy theme packs are part of any of the pledge levels.
Right,
they were all add-ons. And so this one is Hell Train themed or Western Express themed.
And it's the Scafford Gang.
And it's a Scafford Gang theme pack. And so this one also has, of course, 2 new enemy groups and 2 new enemy characters. It has the Safe Crackers, which are basically big ogre-like mutants that can barrel along running fast enough to keep up with the train and can make giant leaps onto the train and then tear right through, shear through the metal siding or the roof to get into the train to attack. And then the other enemy group is the Scafford Outriders, who are basically mounted train robbers, mutant train robbers.
But we have mounted and on foot.
They're mounted and they're on foot. And then the 2 heroes, or the 2 enemy characters, I should say, in this pack are Morty Scafford, who is the little guy there with the stethoscope, and he's basically the ultimate safecracker. And he can climb up and ride on the back shoulders of the safecrackers as they jump onto the train, and he is kind of the brains of the operation. And then the other enemy character is Bell Scafford, Captain Bell Scafford, who is...
Sorry, Jacob Cord says he's their monkey.
Oh.
He's not, though. He's a character. He's calling the shots.
Really, he's in charge. So maybe the safecracker is his human. So Captain Bell Scafford is the other character, and she is both on foot and mounted, and she is basically like an expert swordsman and leads the groups of mutant train robbers that ride down from the canyons and the Badlands to attack the Western Express or the Hell Train to try to steal what they want from the travelers passing through their area. All right, so that is the Riders of the Storm. What do we got next?
Let's see, River of the Dead.
River of the Dead.
This is actually one of the ones I'm very excited about. Yeah. River of the Dead has not only really cool enemies, like enemy groups, but really cool characters. So this is where they have the Osirian Guard. Yeah. And they're much more like skeletal than zombies. So
this is the River of the Dead set is kind of an Osiris themed Egyptian themed enemy theme pack. And so it has the Ushabti warriors, which are basically large Ushabti statues that have come to life to defend the tombs. But they're basically like living statues. And then it's got the Osiris River Guard, which are more skeletal. So they're a little more agile. They're not weighed down by all that muscle and flesh, keeping them back. But they are armed with long spears and powerful shields. These guys are really tough. For anybody that's fought them at Roll to Move or Gen Con knows that these guys are, in one of the preview games, knows that these guys are pretty tough because they can just shrug off some damage every turn for free. And then the 2 character enemies that come with this set are the Priestess of Judgment, who you can see there in the image, and Amut, who is a large size mythological deity that feasts on the souls of those that are unworthy to go to the afterlife. And so this, like I said, this is an Osiris-themed Egyptian set. And these enemies are definitely a lot of fun to fight against.
Yeah, this is a really cool one. There's a few other questions here that we should get to. Jill says, will the PM indicate which enemies have multiple variations so we know how many to order ahead of time? So I'm not sure that, they're not all finalized. So it's rough because listing it would tie our hands to be able to develop them.
Yeah, but even beyond that, we don't currently have a setup where you can get individual enemy sets from the stretch goals. So within the Pledge Manager, it's mostly going to be, you have your pledge box with the stretch goals as part of it, and then there's the add-ons that you can get in addition to that. But there aren't as many Otherworld variants for these different enemies as we've had in the past, because these new worlds that they go to are more specific.
Scientist character and an orphan character, you got Rick and Morty. Sharky says, oh great, nastier coffin breakers. All right, here's an important one. It doesn't have a name, but it says, will the PM accept PayPal? That is a good question. I believe it will. We're using the same pledge manager that we've used in all our previous ones, and we were able to turn on their PayPal component to accept PayPal. Now, that being said, they did change a bunch of the functionality of their stuff, and I haven't specifically asked about that. So I would say 90% sure that it will accept PayPal, but I haven't had specific confirmation. That's a very good question. I'll ask about it.
And there's no name on the person asking that question, but I think that they also asked earlier about they were worried that they weren't going to get the email for late backers. And what I would say is, if you haven't gotten an email for the Pledge Manager invite within the next week or less, that you should email us to ask about it. Obviously, we can't see who you are or what your contact info is here, but if you don't get an email invite to the Pledge Manager within the next week, definitely reach out to us.
Yeah, but also, if you don't get one in the next day or two, that's still totally normal. You know, once, like I said earlier, once they start sending out the invites, they do them in batches, and so you might see that other people have gotten their invite. That doesn't necessarily mean that you should have yours already. It'll take time. They release them in batches.
Yeah, and it looks like Todd asks, any rough estimate on how much after Wave 1 that Wave 2 is planned to ship? It's really hard to know, just because a lot of the stuff is still in development and we don't know what other challenges are going to come up between now and then. We're currently estimating as you probably saw in recent updates on the Kickstarter, we're estimating the Wave 1 pledges are scheduled to go out mid next year sometime, start of summer. And we're hoping to get Wave 2, maybe about 6 months after that or so. And I mean, if we can do it sooner, we definitely will. But that's kind of our current overall estimation.
So we should probably jump back into, there's one. Would you recommend one or two sets of train doors? How many carriages can a fight span?
Generally speaking, when you're playing down the train, I mean, some people like to keep their entire board set up as they go. It's a little harder to do with the train because it tends to be very linear. And so usually in a game that takes place on the Hattle Train or the Western Express, we'll have about three to four cars out at once. And that's one of the reasons that we were pretty comfortable having the 8 train car doors in the box for the doorway set, because each train car map tile would take 2 doors to support the roof. So you can have up to 4, with one box of the train car doors, you can have up to 4 cars with the rooftops on.
We do need to get back onto the list because there's some really exciting stuff we're about to reveal. But I do want to answer Nancy's question. She says, will Adventures Wave 3 be before Trains/Tombs Wave 1? And that is the current plan.
Yeah, that's the plan. So the Adventures Wave 3 is currently slated to go into production in just a couple months, and is intended to ship basically first quarter of the next year. So we'll update more on that. I mean, that was in the most recent update for the Wave 3 Adventures Kickstarter. And so you can see more about it there. But that kind of outlines the plan.
Also, it's, it's not as though it's not in production. Like, we already have finished the models, the plastic models for all the mission packs. It's more like
and
stuff.
Getting the final assembly and printing and all of that kind of stuff finished so that we can have them assembled and packed and shipped to the regional hubs and all of that.
Okay,
so we should probably keep rolling here.
Yeah, Andrea Florio says, I have 7 minutes left on my lunch break.
Uh-oh, well, we better hurry.
All right, so it's time to show
I think there's
The Fury of the Reich.
Yeah, there's one more enemy theme pack that we introduced during the Kickstarter campaign, and that was the Fury of the Reich. So this is another 1930s pulp theme pack, and this one is basically includes the 2 new enemy groups as well as 2 new enemy characters. For this one, we have Reich soldiers, which have their kind of MP38 submachine guns and torches and maps. And they're basically dispatched to hunt down occult, to gain occult knowledge and look for ancient relics and occult items in the ancient tombs buried under the desert sands of Egypt. The other enemy group that you have there are the Trident Commandos. Trident is basically a facet of the Reich that is all about going through portals, hunting ancient relics and artifacts and going through portals to other worlds to try to get ancient magics and technologies and relics to help in their evil plots. And then the characters that come with this set are Colonel Stein, who is pictured here, who's a slightly mutated officer. Slightly, yeah. His giant mutated arm and his scratched up, scarred face. And then also Tressa, the femme fatale, who you can see on the box cover there, standing on the stairs having a shootout.
And Tressa, this is not the first time we've seen her.
Yeah.
She was in Fortune and Glory.
Yeah, so she is a named character from Fortune and Glory from that vile organization. And so, yeah, this is another fun enemy theme pack that gets you some nice Reich soldiers to punch across the jaw. People got to play against some of these enemies for the first time in preview games at Roll to Move this year back in June, and I think people had a pretty good time punching out some Reich soldiers and going toe to toe with these guys.
It's very pulp adventure.
It is, for sure.
All right, but let's keep it rolling because next up we actually are introducing a brand new enemy theme pack that is debuting for the first time in the Pledge Manager.
Yeah.
Gangsters of Chicago.
Oh man. So for fans of the Fortune and Glory board game, you're probably also familiar with the Chicago mob as one of the big vile organizations that you can take on. And we thought it would be really fun to really play up that 1930s pulp theme by adding the Gangsters of Chicago. So with this enemy theme pack, you have 2 new enemy groups, which are the wise guys.
We actually have some more some more
images showing
images.
Off the specific guys.
Yes. So if we go to the next one, we can see there's the artwork a little bit closer up, the cover art.
Yeah,
which is awesome. Nice. I love this piece.
And you can see the mob entering into the ancient Egyptian tomb.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so some
Here's
of the
wise guys right here.
Some of the enemy groups in this are the wise guys, which are trench coat wearing, fedora wearing mobsters wielding Tommy guns or with brass knuckles and pistols. And so this is another mixed weapons enemy group where when you come across them, some of them will have Tommy guns, some of them will have pistols and brass knuckles. And so it kind of shakes up the fight and makes it a little bit more varied as the Tommy gun guys lay down fire and the pistol wielding guys get up close to take shots at you and to throw some punches. And then the other enemy group in this set are the mob goons. And so you can see these guys look kind of like the big heavy toughs that work at the docks and really put the smack down. You can see he's carrying a big heavy chain and has a baseball bat slung over one shoulder in his meaty fist. So these are large size enemies that can basically just try to squash anyone that stands in the way of the nefarious plots of their mob leaders. All right, and then the
goons.
Yeah, the mob goons, and then
these are large size.
Yeah, the other 2 characters, enemy characters that come in this set are the femme fatale nightclub singer, who, she's very much along the lines of Vanessa Love from the Fortune and Glory. She's one of the villains in Fortune and Glory. But she's basically the kind of seductive nightclub singer who can wreak havoc on the hero's sensibilities as she pulls her secret pistol to betray them at every turn. And then the other character in this set, the other enemy character, is the mob boss Capo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Capo mob boss. So he basically is got his kind of long trench coat. He's got a toothpick or cigar in his hand, and he's holding aloft his big Tommy gun as well. And so he's basically a leader of the wise guys and the goons that's been dispatched to the other end of the world to try and establish a foothold for the Chicago mob in Cairo and the surrounding, desert regions. So that is the Capo mob boss.
It's off screen now, but I did see someone had asked a question about if they could. They're a U.S. backer, and they were wondering if they could switch their shipping address to go to Canada instead. And I think that we'll be able to do that. But what you'd want to do is email Kickstarter at flyingfrog.net and let them know, what your backer information is and ask about it. And we can have our Kickstarter experts take a look at it and see if we can help out with that. All right.
Okay, so why don't we go on to the next thing?
Everybody wants a Capo hero now. All right. So this new one we haven't even hinted at. This is a very, very exciting.
We might have hinted slightly with the initial screen.
The opening screen of this video.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this is another enemy theme pack that is brand new for the Pledge Manager, and it is the Legacy of the Old Kingdoms. And so this enemy theme pack is kind of set themed, and it basically is the ancient kingdoms that rose and fell in Egypt before the rise of the pharaohs and all of that. And so these are all enemies that are very ancient and decrepit undead. And so it has two new enemy groups. It's got decrepit mummies, who are extremely tattered and deteriorated ancient mummies, but they're really dastardly fighters. And then
we actually have some slides for these different guys.
Okay.
So maybe we should go through those.
Slow it down and
go
through the slides.
Could go,
sure.
Like here's the artwork for the cover, and you can see these different ones. There's the decrepit mummies in the front there, and there's two characters in the center.
Yeah.
And on either side are the large size enemies.
Yeah,
those are the set prowlers.
Set prowlers.
All right, so if we go to the next slide, we can see
the decrepit
mummies, and there's two different poses, and you can see that they're really just like falling apart. So the difference between these guys and like the crypt mummies is they're much, much older, and so we really wanted to show how just tattered and the wraps on them are just like turning to dust on their shriveled skin.
Yeah.
And all of their clothing is very tattered. So these are very, very ancient and powerful undead.
Elite soldiers of the ruling class.
And now there's some characters.
So, so in addition to these as an enemy group, the decrepit mummies, we have the Serket Venom Priest, who you can see is kind of based off of the Scorpion Serket goddess, who's one of the ancient deities of Egypt. And so he has large knife blades that are scorpion themed, and he has an ancient mechanical tail that delivers different venoms to the heroes to poison and strike at those intruders that step into their tombs in their realm. You can also see in this piece of artwork that we have the set prowlers, which are large size mythic enemies that are themed for the god of chaos, the Egyptian deity of chaos, Set. And I think we have a slide of those guys as well, right?
Yeah. There's a miniature going on right now.
Yeah, the Serket Venom Priest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can see the pose on this guy is super cool. I think that it's really, really dynamic and shows off not only his fighting style with those scorpion claw blades, but also like his tail is just lashing and striking. His mechanical, ancient mechanical tail is lashing and striking to deliver those venoms to the heroes.
For the design of the tail, I looked at a bunch of like Leonardo da Vinci mechanisms and stuff. He actually designed a robot, which is pretty crazy, like an automaton. And so a lot of that kind of ancient workings, so that we could have like this mechanical, ancient mechanical tail.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and so I think we saw the set prowlers for a second there. There they are.
Yeah, the set prowlers. So these guys are basically another myth enemy that is...
They're large-sized.
Yeah, they're kind of large-sized mythic avatars of Set. And they are a little bit more agile. They fight with long waz staffs and ankhs. And so they can dole out chaos magic while whacking you over the head with their ancient staves.
So Medwind says, love the addition of some basing to make the poses more action-oriented and dynamic. And Philip Broughton says, do you smell what the circuit is cooking? All right, Scorpion King. Jill Thomas says, nice sculpt. The Egyptian stuff is definitely stealing the show, hands down. Well, wait until you see the last character, which is the Neath Huntress. That is an illustration of her, and we teased this at the opening for the first slide. But let's look at the miniature. There she is.
Yeah, and one of the defining characteristics of the ancient Egyptian deity Neith was that she would use a bow with 2 notched arrows firing at once, and so that is one of the things that the Neath Huntress does. So she is a ranged enemy. Again, all of the characters for the Legacy Old Kingdoms are also ancient undead mummies. That are ancient beyond words. They were ancient in the time of the pharaohs. And so she is a ranged enemy that can fire off multiple arrows at a time at the heroes, and is a little bit more agile, dodging and ducking and weaving to let loose her arrows.
And you can also see in the artwork and on the model that she's got kind of almost like a bandolier strap of canopic jars. And so she can throw these canopic jars, and they contain, canopic jars are an actual thing from history. They contained the organs of people that were mummified. So for ours, basically she throws the canopic jar, and when it bursts open, it uses ancient magic to raise a decrepit mummy.
Yeah, decrepit mummies.
From the organ that is from that person. So it's really cool. She has this satchel where she's throwing these canopic jars down and summoning decrepit mummies.
Summoning mummies, yeah. All right. Well, I think that takes us through to the end of the enemy theme packs.
We have one last surprise before we're done.
Wait. Isn't that enough? I mean, didn't we show enough cool stuff?
What do you want to take a vote? If people want something else, or if we should just call it there? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, do people want another thing that's cool? Or would you rather...
Mummy juice grenades.
Mummy juice grenades, yeah. All right, well...
Gavin Downing says, Scott is coughing. Clearly, he needs some mummy juice. Yes.
Yep.
All right, Kyle Thomas says more. Fingers crossed for a triple XL Nidhogg. Whoa.
A triple X Nidhogg, huh?
All right.
With an L.
I'm hearing more. Do it. Release the reveal. Yes. So you can only imagine, after all of this, we've got the Legacy of the Old Kingdom. We've got
Gangsters of Chicago.
Gangsters of Chicago. There's 2 brand new heroes. We got new map tile packs, the new
Door
door
sets.
sets, the new dice.
Khamuntet and the tribal ghost
Khamuntet, the
ghost
tribal
hunters.
ghost. Like honestly, it's it's some amazing and exciting stuff. But you know, we don't like reveal the greatest thing and then go downhill from there. Like we have to build up to the best and most exciting thing, right? So whatever it is we show next would have to be more exciting than all of those things.
Well, we should let people decide. So, what do we got?
All right.
Maybe we should flip to the next slide.
Let's see the next slide. What do we got? This is our last reveal. What? A brand new Otherworld.
A brand new deluxe Otherworld expansion. The Shattered Ruins of Shakar.
Shakar? Is that the Shakari homeworld?
What's left of it.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Yes. This is something people have wanted for a long time, at least since we introduced the Shakari. And with the Shakari nomads, we told the story of their homeworld being destroyed. And almost immediately people said, we want to go and visit their Shakari homeworld. We want to adventure there and see what's going on. And so now that there's reaction rolling in, I think people are excited. Yes. So this is actually the first time we've done an Otherworld
since Forbidden Fortress.
Since Forbidden Fortress.
It would have been the Forest of the Dead.
Yeah, that is a long haul.
It's been a few years.
Yes. And so this is the one that brought us back out of retirement of Otherworld making and for another round. And so this is very exciting. We can go into like the individual parts of it, but I did want to address, it says at the top, includes Kickstarter exclusive map tile. So let me explain this. The idea is that, this is going to go to retail. It's going to be out there at some point for everybody, right? But we were talking the other day about how much we appreciate you guys. You guys are like our Kickstarter supporters. You help create this stuff. You help fund our dreams of all this crazy stuff that we want to make. And so, we thought it would be really cool to have a bonus for you guys, the people that actually like supported during the campaign, as like a thank you, because, like anybody can buy it in the game store when it comes out, but like you guys are the ones who are here because you backed the Kickstarter. So what we thought was it would be cool if we have one additional map tile that is only for people who were part of the Kickstarter, who get it during the Pledge Manager. And so it will come with this new exclusive map tile. It's double-sided, so it's going to be...
we haven't talked about what the other side is.
Okay. It's double-sided. It'll fit with the other ones. But besides the map tile itself, it'll also include the associated
the map
cards,
cards, the encounter cards, things like that.
Yeah. So it's actually like a map tile little bonus pack or something like that. And so that's just going to be exclusive. So now again, the Otherworld, Shattered Ruins of Shakar Deluxe Expansion, that is not exclusive. But this map tile, if you buy the Shattered Ruins in the Pledge Manager, you get the exclusive map tile and the associated cards. And that's because we wanted to thank you guys for your support. So without further ado, let's go to the next slide. Let's take a closer look at some of this.
The Shattered Ruins of Shakar.
Shattered Ruins of Shakar. Now we start out and we're showing some of the map tiles so you can get an idea of what you're dealing with.
So the Shattered Ruins of Shakar are basically like a post-apocalyptic alien world that has been torn asunder from within. Imagine a bright orange horizon leading up to a black star field in the sky with chunks of the planet floating by overhead.
In orbit
of the planet, floating overhead in the sky. And because it's been broken apart by the power of the Darkstone and the Void, The ground is cracked with chasms and fissures that are filled with purple energy and darkstone radiation coming up from beneath the surface crust of the planet. And so the ground is all cracked and shattered. And from these chasms of void energy grow void creep, which is basically like tendril vines that grow up from within the surface of the planet, but also from tears in reality that lead to the void. And those overgrown tendril vines basically cover all of the buildings and streets and vehicles and kind of corrode and decay and corrupt anything that they wrap around and start to destroy. And so you can see that in the map tiles here. You can see the shattered concrete streets. You can see the broken walls of the buildings along the edges, the cracks and fissures in the ground with the purple darkstone energy and radiation coming up from beneath the surface. And
actually on the tile to the left, that tile is named for the crashed Shakari shuttle that's there. So you can actually see the wreckage of this Shakari shuttle. And for keen observers, it actually is the same Shakari shuttle that we've had at Dicefest on the
Arzakov's
Gate table where the Shakari landed their shuttle. Yeah. And so, we had designed that shuttle years ago, and now we've put it into the map tile here. It's a Shakari shuttle that's crashed. And you can actually see in the ripped open hull, there's individual seats and everything. And the void creep is slowly overtaking the shuttle.
Yeah. So we can probably move on to the next slide. So the other side is also a new world. It's a new Earth-based world, which is the Deep Jungle. The Deep Jungle, which basically is perfect to go along with the Spanish Fort and Valley of the Serpent Kings theme. It's also perfect for going along with the pulp adventure 1930s theme from the Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet. And it basically is a deep rainforest type jungle with trees and underbrush and growth and ancient ruins set deep in the jungles. So this is kind of similar to the way the Blasted Wastes and the Canyons work, where it's got kind of like two new worlds in one. It's got the Shattered Ruins of Shakar as the alien Otherworld, and it's got the Deep Jungle as the Earth-based world.
Yeah. Deep Jungle it feels like something we've been missing all this time. So it's very cool to have it. And it is the perfect time for it because, not only can any of the guys, from Vikings to Old West characters go there, it is just this, it's so thematic to go with pulp adventurers or Spanish conquistadors exploring these different islands.
Or Aztec heroes.
Yeah, Aztec heroes, absolutely. So, all right, if we go on to the next slide here, we can see actually some of the miniatures a little bit closer up. So up in front there, we've got one of the Shattered Ruins of Shakar, Shakari scavengers.
Yeah, so we should probably talk about what enemies, what enemy packs come in this set. So
let's go through it.
There's several different enemy groups that come in this new Otherworld Deluxe expansion. In the front, you can see one of the Shakari scavengers. These are basically Shakari nomads that have returned to the ruins of their homeworld, looking for survivors or anything that they can salvage and recover from their lost home. And so they basically are a little bit more nomadic looking. They've got breath masks and use different pieces of tech to try to search the ruins and the rubble and the old city streets for anything of value or anything they can recover, or potentially even survivors that are still trapped on the planet or maybe have been lost in previous expeditions back to their homeworld. And so these are Shakari scavengers. Another enemy group in this set you can see here, which are creeper husks. And these are basically undead. They were originally inhabitants of this world of Shakar, and they were tainted and corrupted and killed by the destruction of their homeworld. And now they've been reanimated by the tendrils of void creep that overgrow their post-apocalyptic cities. And so you can see these are Shakari inhabitants or scavengers that have gone back and been corrupted by the void creep. And the set comes with a group of 9 of these creeper husks in different poses. And it also has a new type of hazard, which is the void creep root, which you can see in the background. And so you'll get a few of these void creep roots, which are where the tendril vines of void creep are taking over the ruins from. And so those kind of act like spawners, but also hazards that can try to ensnare heroes that get too close and start corrupting you and burning you with the power of the void radiation.
So besides the miniatures that we're showing here, there's some other enemy groups.
Yeah, there's
too.
other enemy groups as well. There's a large size enemy group, which are abominations. And those are basically giant mutant creatures, mutant demon creatures that have basically come through the void and now wander the ruins looking for any organic material that they can smash and consume to add to their own biomass and grow larger and more menacing. And so as they travel the ruins, they're feeding on anything they find to make themselves grow bigger and more monstrous. So those are the abominations, a large size enemy group. And then there's also the shadow flayers, which are kind of a new type of void sorcerer. They're kind of a mini boss type enemy. And whereas the void sorcerers dabble mostly in magic and the occult, the shadow flayers are kind of collectors of lost relics from fallen civilizations, and they dabble in technology and super science. And so they come to this world through tears in reality from the void to hunt down relics and technology of this lost civilization and try to collect up anything that has an emotional imprint on it that they can siphon off to try to understand more about mortal beings and creatures that have fallen in the wake of the darkness. And of course, they bring those ancient relics and artifacts back to the vaults of Valator in the void to store for further study and ritual.
Steven says, are they Shakari? But I'm not 100% sure at what point
So
in what you were discussing.
So the Shakari scavengers are a new type of Shakari enemy. And the
creeper husks were Shakari when they were alive.
But they are now undead.
And then the rest of them are not.
Yeah.
The abominations.
The abominations are
they're
void
demons that have come through from the void.
Yeah, and the
Cam says, where do you come up with this stuff?
So yeah. So and a lot of these enemies do work well in the deep jungle side of the map tiles as well, with the Shakari scavengers searching the jungles for anything of value, resources and whatnot that they can take back and continue to eke out an existence. And then the void creep root, and the creeper husks with the vines, of course, also work well as undead that are consumed by the void creep root in the jungles, and the abominations, giant demonic creatures. If they're looking for new biomass and animals to consume and add to their form, so they can grow bigger and nastier and more vile, what better place than the steamy deep jungle, which is filled with life and all sorts of animals and people.
Yes. So that was our last reveal, and concludes our tour of all of the add-ons that are available in the Pledge Manager. In case you came in partway through, the Pledge Manager is not open yet. It should be, we should start sending out invites in the next day or two, and it will take time. They're sending them in batches. So even if you see other people getting invites and you don't have one yet, that doesn't mean anything's wrong. It does it in batches, so many every hour around the clock. And that way it's kind of like a soft open so that it doesn't overwhelm the system all at once. And then I promised that at the end of the list, we would go through and specifically give a listing that you guys could reference in the video, listing of just the items that are debuting in the Pledge Manager.
Yeah.
So let's...
before
go
you do, Stephen has a question about wanted pledge backers being contacted. So we haven't sent those emails out yet, but we will be sometime in the next couple months, probably.
Probably
sending,
sooner than that.
Maybe sooner. Sending that out for wanted and map maker backers to collect their information and photos for their wanted portraits. So that'll be sometime relatively soon. That wanted and map maker backers will be contacted. All right, so you were going to go through the list.
My grandson was born during the first Kickstarter. Now he's 25 and he's explaining all of this to me. It has not been that long. All right, so the list of
New items
add-ons that are debuting in the Kickstarter.
in the Pledge Manager.
I'm sorry, in the Pledge Manager.
Yeah.
So there were add-ons during the Kickstarter that are not part of the Pledge, but that you could pay an add-on purchase. And then there are new add-ons that are debuting in the Pledge Manager. This is that list.
All right, so this is that list.
We have the Tomb Chamber doors. We have the train car doorways. We have the Hero Pack Scoundrel. We have the Hero Pack Foxic Ancient. We have the map tile pack for Cursed Tombs, Sunken City of Ferox. We have the map tile pack for the Western Express / Hell Train.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Otherworld Deluxe expansion, the Shattered Ruins of Shakar. We have Khamuntet, the XXL Deluxe Enemy Pack. We have Tribal Ghost Hunters Enemy Pack. And that includes their mounted and on foot in one pack there. Enemy Theme Pack, Gangsters of Chicago. Enemy Theme Pack, Legacy of the Old Kingdoms. We have custom dice for Hell Train, Egypt, Ferox, and Crimson Hand. We've got an art book that's Cursed Tombs and Hell Train. It's one book that has both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that is it. Those are all the new ones that were debuted in the Pledge Manager. That will be debuted in the Pledge Manager.
Yeah. So the Pledge Manager should be launching either tomorrow or Friday. That's our goal. Like we said at the top of the video, it's a little bit out of our hands exactly when it officially kicks off. But people will start getting their invite emails, and it'll be done in little blocks. So even if you see online that somebody got invited, and you didn't, and you're worried, you will shortly. It's just a matter of, the different chunks of invites going out that are kind of spaced out a little bit. So I think that's...
Dean says, that was awesome. Yeah, I think people are excited about it. I am curious. Well, okay, we'll answer. Michael Glass says, will we get threat cards added for our old Shakari enemies to put in Shakar?
That is a good question. We'll have to see how that pans out. I'm sure they'll become available whether they're in that set or not. They'll be available at some point, even if it's just as some sort of supplement or promo cards or things along those lines.
Lindsay says, anyone know how much the Tredaran Strike Team will go for? I assume you don't mean on eBay. It's going to be 60 in the Pledge Manager. All right. I was about to say something and I lost my train of thought. What was it I was going to say? I mean, I know. I was going to say, I'm curious about what people are most excited about. And we've put out a bunch of new information, shown a bunch of really cool, interesting new stuff. What are people most excited about? That's my question. So you guys let us know in the comments while we answer other questions and stuff. Luke says, making Shakar fulfilled a wish I had since I got into the game in 2022. Thank you for that, guys.
Yep. Thomas says, I'm excited. also old and have to go to bed. See you at Dicefest. We'll see you at Dicefest, Thomas.
Yes, and actually, I think we have a slide about Dicefest too, just to remind people that Dicefest is coming up, and we hope you guys can join us for it. It is, as you can see on the slide there, Dicefest 2025 is October 31st through November 2nd, with a Halloween party on October 30th, and it is going to be at the Bellevue Hilton in Bellevue, Washington, which is local to us. And this is our convention that we put on. And we are setting up for it to be the most exciting Dicefest we have ever done. So if you guys have any way to join us for Dicefest, we guarantee a great weekend of fun, games, friends, and exciting events and adventures. So, and if you cannot attend, make sure you check out, during that weekend, we're going to be doing, live streaming of a bunch of different events, showing a lot of photos on our social media. There's going to be, costume contests and painting contests and a bits box brawl and speed painting and a bunch of cool and interesting stuff. Plus, there should be some reveals at Dicefest of some new releases for Dicefest. And those are ones where you could get them on the web store at the same time as they go live at Dicefest in person. So even if you can't be with us, there in person, you can still enjoy a weekend of exciting, like streaming of events and checking out the pictures and maybe getting, exciting new debuts from Dicefest and all that. All right, so we can take a few more questions before we go. If anybody has anything that they would like to know, it could be probably a Kickstarter or pledge. What? Cam says he got his pledge manager email already. That's not possible. They weren't sent yet, so maybe it's a scam. I don't know.
I did see some posts on the
Yeah.
Really? Well, I mean, it hasn't gone live yet, so I don't know. It's not really possible unless there was a glitch and something leaked out early. So people are talking about what they're most excited about, and it says that, let's see, the new Otherworld is the best. Oh, and Jim Robinson said he'll be at Dicefest. That's awesome. We hope to see you. Should be good. Bob Clark says, always been a big fan of the Shakari Nomads. Their purest mechanic is such an interesting starting point for a ton of organic storytelling. Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. Very excited for the new Otherworld, Bob Clark says. Brian Aslan says, Wave 3 Adventures, PM for shipping. Oh, he's talking about like paying for shipping for that. I think that probably won't be reopening the pledge manager for that. I think it'll be like we make direct.
We contact people. I mean,
like with their direct cost of shipping, once we weigh it. I mean, it is tough because each package is different because it's going to be picking and pulling what different people ordered. So it's hard to generalize that. Will there be any cards to use Egyptian enemies with the train board as open range?
So it depends on the enemies. There aren't a lot because most of the open range cards are enemies that are either mounted or flying. But that being the case, or that being said, I should say, the Western Express is an Earth-based world, even though it's the train. And so it uses the regular low, medium, and high threat cards. So you can easily have any of the enemies from the Cursed Tombs show up using the low, medium, and high threats on the trains. The Hell Train itself is the Otherworld version of the train, and that has its own Otherworld threat deck. So it's less likely that those things would show up there. Looks like John says, will there be a town edition for this adventure? So currently we don't have a town set slated for this. There's already a lot going on in Cairo as part of the Lost Tombs or the Cursed Tombs of Khamuntet core set. And then for the Impossible Hell Train core set, it's Rail Towns, which kind of share a lot of commonality with Frontier Towns. So there's not really currently a town set planned for these two themes in this Kickstarter. That doesn't mean we wouldn't do something in the future, but it's not something we have on the books right
now. It looks like Alex says, how long will the pledge manager be open? We covered this earlier, but the short answer is we don't have a very specific set time. We will open the pledge manager, and then we're hoping that people will complete their pledge manager orders and all their information and all that as soon as possible, because then it kind of fills the meter of like what percentage of people have completed it. And the sooner that we get them all completed, then the sooner that we can have our final numbers for manufacturing. So if we open it and like it became 100% complete in a week, we'd be good to go. That's not going to happen, obviously. Right. But will we have to keep it open for a month? At least a month, I would think. Maybe 2 months. We're going to reassess as we look at it to see how complete it is, because it is tough to just try to guess the rest of it about what people are going to be ordering. Yeah. So we're hopeful that you guys can complete the pledge manager sooner than later, but I would say it's a safe bet that it will be open for at least 1 to 2 months.
Looks like Donk Dude says, do payments happen when you complete the pledge manager or when the pledge manager closes? So they happen when you check out in the pledge manager. So when you complete your individual pledge manager checkout is when you end up paying for the items that you added and the shipping.
Philip says Shakari is awesome and reminds me of Gamma World, but the Scoundrel was the biggest surprise of the evening. And his Scoundrel monkey.
Yeah, looks like Bob Clark wants an interdimensional space station town with Douglas Adams vibe.
Yeah.
Sort of a restaurant at the end of the universe, perhaps.
Yeah. As long as you bring a towel.
Yeah. Or at
that
least
could be an artifact. Yeah, at least know where it is. Matthias says, will you be able to get extra copies of the new card supplements in the pledge manager? I don't think we have any new card supplements in this one.
No, well, I think he's probably talking about the stretch goal card supplements. So no, we're not going to have any of the stretch goals available as individual add-ons in the pledge manager, but they will all be available on our website, the web store eventually, once stuff starts shipping.
Yeah. Let's see. Anthony says, didn't have the money for the Kickstarter, but I dropped $20 on it to save my slot. Can't wait to order everything, especially the Shakar expansion. So I think that it was the $25 pledge level that was the lowest one that gets
the tourist
access to the pledge manager. So hopefully he means 25 and not 20. And if so, excellent. If not, I don't think he'll get an invite to the pledge manager.
Yeah, it might.
So you may want to double check and see where that stands. If it ends up that you didn't make it in, you can email us, probably at admin@flyingfrog.net, and we can try to look at it and see. And if you're watching this and you are super excited and you missed the boat and you didn't get in, we closed the pledge manager,
the late pledge,
the late pledge option. And, but if somebody has an absolute burning desire and can convince us, then, we might be able to sneak you in, but that would have to happen very soon. So the ship is about to sail.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Big Dead Egyptian Bro going to be able to attack the train. I believe he wants Khamuntet to attack the train.
Ride alongside the train for an epic battle. Yeah, I mean it's wholly possible. it probably would be mission based rather than as an open range threat, because the open range threats aren't really epic threats. They're kind of like Otherworld threats, but not for another world, for kind of open world, if that makes sense. Like non-interior world settings.
Ryan Whalen says, with the jungles coming, can you expand Children of the Mountain?
They would do great in the deep jungle, I think.
Oh, yeah.
They'd definitely be really cool.
But he wants to expand. Maybe Grandchildren of the Mountain, something like that.
Maybe.
Jason Lamar says, do the gates come with cards? Yes, we mentioned this earlier, but each of the new Doorways sets comes with a 15-card mini expansion.
Yeah.
Just like all of our different Doors sets.
And the other thing that's kind of important to note is that the we just showed off the image that shows the actual box and the price and the title, but in all of the entries of these things in the Pledge Manager, it has a full description of what comes in it and some flavor text and kind of all the information you'd want to know about the details of each item. So it's not like you're going solely off of the image. There's a lot of text that goes along with each of those in the different Pledge Manager entries.
Philip says, Tomb Daddy versus Big Train Papa. Okay. All right. Ethan is here. Hey, Ethan. He says, I'd love some supplement packs for the... Actually, it just popped off screen. For the Jungle World.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool, but it's probably something that we'd try to do maybe to coincide with a retail release of these things, of the Otherworld deluxe set.
Jill says, shout out to Chris K at the Flying Frog store. He takes care of business and always gives great customer service. Well, that's awesome. Thanks, Jill. We will shout out. We'll shout at Chris tomorrow. and you are doing a good job. That kind of thing.
All right. Anthony says, thank you for the stream, and thank you for always dropping amazing content and supporting your game. Been a Shadows gamer since original retail release. Can't wait. Thanks for coming to the stream and for supporting the game and us.
And Luke says, this was a great way to return after a short break from gaming. So impressed. That is awesome. Thanks, Luke. Khamuntet reminds me of the PC game Strange Brigade. I'm not familiar with it. Space Allied teddy bears with spears, call them E-Docs. Okay.
All right.
I think on that note, we're probably drifting into crazy territories.
Yeah.
So,
but this has been a pretty long stream anyway, so we should probably say goodnight to everybody. Thank you for joining us for this Pledge Manager live stream, and we hope to see many of you at Dicefest this year, just in a little over a month's time.
Yeah, hard to believe. And we should also give a shout. Speaking of shout, we should give a shout out to Dan for running the board for us tonight, and also for sculpting all of these amazing models. So, all right. Thanks, guys. We will see you soon.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.